Welcome to After the Show. Franchise J. Claxton and Dr. Cass Vaughn. How are you?
I'm good.
Okay. All right. Listen. Speaking about good, and I think I already know your opinion, but I did see clips of, Chris Rock live in Baltimore at the Hippodrome Theater. And the main part of this special, the last maybe like 12 minutes, was about Will and Jada. And I don't know, am I wrong? Because I was here for it?
Everybody, you're not wrong because that's what you wanted to see. Me personally, I've decided that I'm not making any public comments on it. I'm not having any conversations about it. I believe that a lot of times we allow a narrative to continue because we don't stop the narrative. And with that said, for me, I'm not going to allow a narrative to continue by having a conversation. The only thing I will say is this, is that Chris would not have gone to Philadelphia and had a conversation like that in Will's hometown. I'll say that. I'll say that I grew up with Jada. I'll say that I went to school with Jada. I'll say that as a woman, I would want my man to protect me.
True.
And I will also say this. If it happened a year ago, we should have dealt with that a year ago. Too many things in life are happening for us to still be talking about this. And the fact of the matter that he made money off of talking about something like that, talking about not only Jada, talking about Meghan Markle, like the whole special to me, Chris has never been funny in the first place to me. That's what I will say. I will say that as a person who worked with him for a year and a half on his movie Here to Stay, he's not the nicest person, okay? I will also say this, you have to wonder why an African-American man has no problem calling an African-American woman or anyone out of their name. And he did it repeatedly. A man who has a daughter, a man who has a mother, a man who has a sister. So with that said, that is all I will say about that. If you're here for it, that's what you're here for. So I'm not here for it.
So it's, I don't use the B word when we talk about women. You, my mom, my grandmother, my daughter, my aunts, my friends. So I don't use the B word, you know that, right? But it's the thing we always talk about. We can't tell somebody how they should feel or respond to something that you did to them. If I smack the living daylights out of you on national TV, this is worldwide TV in the Oscars. I mean, and if he would have responded then or retaliated then, he sets the black race back 75 years.
And he didn't set it back by calling Jada the B word?
No,
come on now.
No, let me finish. I'm just saying, again, you cannot tell somebody how they respond. She did call Jada the B word? No. Do I think he was pinpoint maybe how Will, the reason why Will did it? You know what I mean? It's a lot of pent up, anger, frustration, whatever. And Will talked about that before.
So as a man,
you gotta let me finish. And we talked about that before. So that's just where he exploded. And explosions happen, and it just happened to this guy. He was the person that it happened to. Now we can't be mad at this man for how he responded. She called women the B word? No, not at all. But I wasn't mad for how he responded.
I'm not mad at him for how he responded. My thing is, there's a time and a place for everything. This happened a year ago. Okay? So if it happened a year ago, you deal with the situation in it. You don't let it fester. You don't allow the narrative to continue to grow. And I'll just have to agree to disagree on the fact that I'm not one that feels like he should have allowed it to fester. You know, we have a incredible show today.
You was tired to talk about that.
Yeah.
I like, you was like, well, I'm done.
I'm done.
We have an incredible show.
We have an incredible show today. I am excited. We have Jonte. She is the financial guru. We had her on one of our initial shows, and we promised to bring her back. We had to bring her back, and so I'm just excited, you know, that today, guess what we have?
Jonte. How you doing, Jonte Robinson? How you feeling?
Hello. I am feeling amazing. How are you all doing?
Fantastic. We here, you know, good show. You're here. I know I'm going to get in trouble for what I'm going to ask you. What did you think about? Did you see any clips of the Netflix special of Chris Rock?
Yeah, so I think it's time to put the nail in the coffin.
Well, I think the nail was put in the coffin on Saturday.
I hope so. Because for me, the whole incident, it was a reproach to who we are as Black people. The whole incident, right, from his joke to Will's reaction, we're better than that. Right. And so I'm just looking forward to us closing the chapter of that book and moving forward. What I will say is that I'm very happy that Chris didn't have a lawsuit against Will, because he most certainly, you know, could have done that.
Right.
So, you know, as a money person, I always think about all things, you know, from a financial perspective, and it's like that could have been very catastrophic.
Absolutely. So, Jonte, we are in the first quarter and going into the second. Please give us your financial forecast for the second quarter of 2023.
Listen, y'all, first of all, I'm a little, I guess, feeling some kind of way, because as you said, we're headed to the end of Q1 of this year. And as a wealth strategist, I know that when we hit January the 1st, everybody had all of these huge goals as it relates to their money. Basic things like, I'm going to start budgeting. I'm going to pay off debt, which is a huge thing. I'm going to get life insurance. And do you know that the majority of people who set goals have not done anything as it relates to their financial goals? So one of the things that's going to be key as we move into Q2 is that people just take a moment and settle themselves and ground themselves in where they are. As a wealth strategist, I consistently get people that come to me and they want to be millionaires, just like that. You know, social media influences the way people think, and we see people living their best, fabulous life on social media, and we want that.
Thank you. But it's a highlight reel, and they never show the process, and I didn't mean to jump in.
No, you're good.
Never show the process of anything. I mean, in order for you to be where you at, there was a process. For Cass, for me, for all of us, there was a process, and the process is never shown. It's just a highlight reel.
Absolutely. And thank you for jumping in, because that's where I was going at, is people need to realize that there is a process before you can think about becoming a millionaire, which is not a huge thing nowadays. Honestly, you can become a millionaire. That's not a lot of money. I mean, in a bigger scheme of things, $1 million is not a lot of money. But if you're going to handle that type of money, you need like basic budgeting skills. Like, do you even pay your bills on time? You know, and these are basic things that I'm finding that people are having challenges with. Debt. People are so, I guess, embarrassed or ashamed about their debts. They don't want to be real about it. I'll ask somebody, like, you know, what debts do you have? And they'll be like, oh, I don't have a lot of debt. And then I started asking questions and going through the assessment. We up to $50, $60, $100,000 in debt.
Jonte, let me ask you a question. Have you ever thought about maybe doing a seminar or maybe doing a workshop, a little different, not a financial literacy one, right? But the truth in finances, right? So when I say the truth in finances, we all have things that we need to clean up, right? We all have things that we need help with. And there are 40, 50, 60-year-olds who don't know how to properly do their finances. And it's just because they've never learned and they never knew how, right? So with that said, have you ever thought about doing something maybe called the truth behind finances? Because in order to be able to be financially literate, you first have to be truthful with what your finances are.
Yes, well, I'm asking permission in the company of all these people. Can I have that title?
Yes.
I was going to say when she said it, I was like, she just gave it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I would love to do that because Dr. Cass, it's so needed because a lot of us weren't taught. I wasn't taught. My mother was a cook. My father was a taxi cab driver. And the way that we viewed money was a bunch of gifts under the Christmas tree and making sure that, we had the latest tennis shoes so we wouldn't get made fun of in school. There was no discussion about finances and wealth and all of these different things. And so that's my whole mission in life, is to bring wealth and value to the world and to do it through educating people, specifically our people, because these are things we don't know. If
you decide to do that, trust me, I'll be the first one there. How you need us to host it, whatever you need, we have you on it. What I will say to you is something you said is key. I think a lot of times as parents, right? So I kind of was taught finance. My dad was really, I'm pretty good at managing, money. And I kind of get frustrated when I can't manage it the way I want. But one of the things that I see indicative of like even some of my friends or whatever the case may be is that we don't teach our kids necessarily finance. We tell them you get a good grade, you get a new pair of shoes, you do well in school, you do well in do good in sports, and I'll buy you something. So we are constantly feeding back to our kids, I'm gonna buy you, but we forget to give them the quality that they need.
Absolutely, I agree. And I think that a better way to reward our children is to, you get good grades, let me open up this account for you and add money to it, so that when you become an adult, you have, access to be able to do things. You don't have to go to a bank and get a loan and all of this, but I'm basically making a way for you to be able to have access. Let me get you a cash value life insurance policy so that you can start to build wealth at a young age, because those tennis shoes are not gonna appreciate in value. I mean, I guess there's some, but the reality is it's not gonna appreciate.
Speaking on the tennis shoes, like they're reselling sneakers crazy. But what I learned over the pandemic, and basically some guys that I was working out with at the gym, I started learning stocks. And then when I started learning stocks, I'm listening to different people on YouTube just trying to get some food. I'm definitely a graduate or attendee of YouTube University. Long story short, it's I opened up a custodial account on Fidelity for my daughter. My son is 21, so I couldn't do it, right? I let her pick the stocks. Like, I let her pick the stocks. She picked Disney, she picked Tesla. She wanted to do Sephora, but Sephora is on the other stock exchange under like Moet Hennessy and Louis Vuitton. And so she did Ulta and we did one more. What's the car company that's going against Tesla right now? And I have the stock as well. And it's a electric car that goes 500 miles one charge. Long story short, I let her pick it. I see, she has that. So to get her kind of entrenched, she does know the difference of an asset and a liability. She knows that. We talked about that. And Acorns is not cutting me a check, but Acorns would take, from the debit card round up for her, to go to her. So when she turns 18 or 21, she has a lump sum of money, and they invest their money as well. So there are things out there that's not really hard to find. I said all that to say that. I'm sorry.
Absolutely. And real quick, I think that's a really great strategy that you're utilizing, because the thing about stocks and buying stocks, we should be buying stocks that align with our values and our stocks for things that we purchase, right? So if you're a Louis Vuitton person, don't just give them your money buying purses, invest in the stocks so that you're getting a return back.
I promise you, Jonte, every time we have you, it's like, okay, so when will we have you again next month? So I will hit up our girlfriend, and we'll definitely schedule you to come back, because of course we didn't have enough time, but you gave us so much information. Thank you so much for being a part of the After the Show family.
Thank you.
Right. I got a bunch of questions. I have a bunch of questions. It's just, we could do a couple hours with you, but we're not gonna take up that much of your time. So again, like she said, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Make me a regular.
What? I think we actually are. We will. For all information about Jonte and financial literacy, you can follow her here.
Well, every time we get a chance to talk with Jonte Robinson, it's never enough time.
It's never enough.
Because I want to talk about starting a business and business I'm trying to start, and I just need some, because I want to use somebody else's money.
I know,
I don't want to use my
enough.
money.
But she is a wealth of knowledge,
right?
And I'm looking forward to us having her on the show more regular.
Yeah. Because
I think that she drops jewels every time that we all need to hear.
Yeah, we gonna have a financial segment with her.
Yes.
Every show.
But guess what we about to do?
No, talk.
So, have you watched Mayor of Kingstown? So it's Mayor of Kingstown, and it is Poker Face.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you, when I started watching it on our trip, I downloaded it on our last trip to Vegas. I started watching it, and so in both,
2 weeks ago.
I know that's it, and I binge watched it.
Oh, I'm great. Say okay.
So in doing so, I saw an incredible human being.
Okay.
And this Mr. Marcus, Brandon Marcus, welcome to the show.
Marcus, what's good, family? How you feeling, man?
What's up, man? I'm feeling great, man. Thanks for having me. Thanks for hosting.
Absolutely. So tell us about your two projects.
Yes, as you said, there's Poker Face on Peacock TV with Natasha Lyonne, who's an amazing actress. I learned so much being on there, and I got to act beside Lil Rel, the comedian, who is phenomenal. I learned so much from him. It was crazy because I get to use a country twang and be a country sheriff, pansexual sheriff. So if you ever seen the movies Knives Out, it's from the same writers, and it's a fun journey. It's a fun time. And my other show, Mayor of Kingstown on Paramount Plus with Jeremy Renner, has been huge. Been getting a lot of good reviews, a lot of good press, and I'm just happy with this journey. I'm excited.
So Marcus, let me ask you a question before we get into exactly, the show and the characters you play and all of that.
Yeah.
What is the biggest misconception about the TV industry and being an actor on TV? Because I think that everybody thinks that you're just making all this millions and millions of dollars, and you paid, and you live in a super big house and car and the kids, and that's probably, true, but I'm pretty sure sometimes it's a misconception. So what's the biggest misconception about that?
I think it's in general, having a luxury lifestyle automatically is a big misconception, and thinking that you're just having this red carpet life all the time. And even when you're filming, a lot of times there's, days are long filming. I'm working 12-hour days, and sometimes more than that. And, you're lucky if that's during the daytime. Sometimes you're on set until like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. in the morning. And that's not easy, time-wise. It's a big commitment. It's not always pretty. And no, it's not always luxury items. And it depends on how you manage your money as well. Especially on the race, but it's always a hustle, always a grind. Even when you get one successful project, it doesn't last forever. So you always have to be thinking ahead.
Okay, gotcha.
Question: what did you do to prepare for the two roles? Because the two roles are completely opposite. So it's almost like you have to be bipolar or tripolar, right?
Right. I think I do think every creative, as you guys probably already know, has I wouldn't say bipolar, but we're a little open-minded, a little expanded beyond ourselves as human beings. And I think when it comes to acting, when you train for so long, you know how to turn it off. You have so many different multifacets of yourself that you can reach into. And me, I think, although my training done a lot for me, I think my life experience has been the one key thing, because I had a diverse upbringing. And, I've lived in projects, trailer parks, suburbs, lived in Europe half my childhood. So there's not a lot of people I can relate to. So whenever there's multiple different roles, I lean on the Tennessee upbringing for poker face. And I lean on my time around, the projects for Mayor of Kingstown and come up along individuals that I can tie to Diedrich, my role on Mayor of Kingstown.
Right. I was going to ask that, like, how do you keep that accent and keep it all the time where it's never off?
Yeah.
Because it's not your natural accent. Right now, I don't hear accent.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think when you get into the thoughts of the character, you start thinking about the thoughts of the character, and you have the thoughts of the character that kind of drives the rest of the human being that you have created. It's the same as when we're every day, what you're thinking now, what you're thinking later in the day. When you're thinking something positive, negative, that drives how your day and how you as a person goes forward. So as when I'm in character, depending on my thoughts as that character, is going to drive which way that character is going. And if I'm thinking the thoughts of the character, I'm a country sheriff, that the accent's going to be naturally right behind it.
Right. Do you ever get caught up, like, from your roles? You've been you've been in, like, locked into the role so much.
Yeah.
It kind of rolls over into your regular normal life. Like, does that ever happen?
Luckily not to where it affects my daily life, but I will say with Mayor of Kingstown, with Diedrich, he leader of the Bloods and doing some heavy things and violent scenes. I will say there's some times where, I'm waking up and I think I'm still on set. I'm like, oh, that was just a dream.
Oh, wow.
Right.
It's like, you're not Diedrich right now. You don't have to fight anybody. Right. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize as well when it comes to acting. As you mentioned earlier, some of the things that's not glorified. The psyche is a big important part of acting and keeping your psyche in check. When you look at, some actors like Philip C. Hoffmore and Heath Ledger and some of the ones we have lost to, the mental depression and things that have taken a toll on them because of the characters they have played and how that has affected their lives. It's very important to take care of yourself. Mental health is important. I'm an advocate for that. And even if you're not in a bad place, I think as an actor, it's good just to have therapy in general, just to keep your balance as a human being.
I absolutely agree. I'm a high advocate for therapy. I believe that we all need to have a conversation, and saying that we're okay when we're not, I don't believe that that's great. I don't think that's the best idea. I'm a heavy advocate of therapy, actually. What I want to say to you is this: congratulations on everything that you're doing. As we're sitting here talking to you, I was thinking about the fact that You look like when my son watches TV, or when our sons watch TV, they see someone that looks like them. And you're not on one, but you're on two major streaming platforms. So congratulations to you. Everything that you're doing and everything that you have going on. We really appreciate the conversation today that we've had with you. What I would love for you to do is just to give us 30 seconds or less, some quick wisdom on how to stay focused in the industry.
Yes, no problem. Perseverance is what I always tell people. You go on 10 days and you want to quit. That 11th day could have been that time where you break through. You have to break through. You're only one job away. You're only one step away. There's times where I would cry in the middle of Times Square, crying for an agent or somebody to give me a chance, casting director. But somebody told me a long time ago that the people who make it are the ones who persevere. And that's why I always share with people. Stay in it, stick to it. And if you have your faith, you know you're going to make it. It's going to look out for you. Keep going.
We appreciate you, my brother. Thank you for taking the time to kick it with us right here after the show, man. Hopefully you enjoyed yourself the way we enjoyed ourselves. And do me a favor, right before you go, tell them how they can, follow everything that you have.
Yeah, check me out on IG, Marcus Lorenzo Brandon, wonderful name. That's really where I'm active. Check me out on Peacock, Poker Face, and Mayor of Kingstown is Deidre on Paramount Plus.
Awesome.
And we appreciate you. All right, be safe, man. Continue winning. All right.
Thank you.
All right, same to you.
When you have something so sweet, you have to bring it back,
Okay.
And Anje Collins is one of those people that, we had to make sure that we had on, like, her history, her story, everything is so incredible.
Yes.
Anje, welcome back to After the Show.
What's
After
up?
the show is the after party.
I like your glasses.
I love those glasses.
I like your glasses.
Thanks.
Making a statement here.
So
They're Rogers Pearson. Thank you.
I was going to say, let's talk about Rogers Pearson. I mean, Miss, I wanted to start off by talking about your previous life as a hammer dancer, but somebody wouldn't go with
No,
me.
she already said it. So she already said it.
So let's talk about Roger Pearson, the factory that you have, which I think is incredible that people need to know about. And I'm gonna let you go.
Okay. Well, Rogers Pearson is a combination of me and my business partner. My maiden name is Rogers, and that's where the Rogers comes from.
Okay.
And his last name is Pearson, so that's where the Pearson comes from. We don't have enough luxury brands that are made by Black people. Most Black people are known. We have streetwear, we have fast fashion, but we don't really have a lot of luxury brands. And it's interesting how people of color will gravitate to the Gucci's and the Louis Vuittons and all the other stuff and spend their money like it's okay. But when it comes to supporting Black brands, it's a whole different story. Like, for instance, this one young lady was like, I have to wait 6 weeks for my shoes. Yes, they are handcrafted in Italy. So they make them by hand. And I said, but let me ask you a question. If I was in Neiman Marcus and you had to wait 6 weeks for it, would it be a problem?
Woo! I say that all the time.
And probably no.
I say that all the time. I say that all the time when it comes to him DJing and things of that nature. Is dealing with artists. A lot of times people be like, "Oh, I want you," and then when you tell them the price, they're like, "I'm not paying that." Oh yeah, but are you negotiating with Neiman Marcus? Are you negotiating with Nordstrom's? I don't think you are.
And your price is your price.
Your price is your price, and your value is your value.
And that's like, even like when I teach PR, the girls are in there talking about, they're just starting out, so they think they should charge $400 or $500. I was like, look, I'm not getting out my bed for $400. Okay, there's a lot to a PR. You're doing a PR campaign. And I said, and I don't negotiate with you either. You cannot walk into McDonald's with $1 and say, hey, I want a number 2. Because they're going to direct you to that dollar menu. and then you better have the tax to go along
I was
with
ready
it.
to say, yeah, that ain't a straight dollar. That ain't a straight dollar. You need to go with your.
You gotta have the
code and
tax
get
to
some
go
change.
with it, right?
Right.
Right. So don't come and try to, you know, bargain me with my prices. My price is my price. And, you know, and I always tell them, like, you know, if they can't pay it, then that's not the right customer for you. Period.
Absolutely. Tell us about real quick, tell us about the warehouse that you have where creatives can come as well.
So Fashion Assembly is a 18,000 square foot facility that's a co-warehousing and co-working facility. So for instance, real estate is real high here in Los Angeles. And so we give people opportunity to have a showroom. They can have a showroom, they can have a warehouse, they can do fulfillment and shipment out of it. You don't have to live in LA. If you live like in St. Louis and maybe you don't want to fly to LA to go to the fashion district, we will do that for you. Take pictures, send it to you, because you know sometimes a flight and a hotel is more expensive than what you get ready to buy in the fashion district.
Right.
So we decided to make everything underneath one umbrella. So they get marketing, they get PR, they get accounting, they get help with funding. But you know, you have to be a person of color, because at the end of the day, we don't get the same opportunities as our Caucasian people do, and they're not going to help you. Clearly, they're not going to help you because they think they got the secret sauce or whatever the case may be.
Man, Angie, as always, it is a pleasure us having you on after the show. I love you so much. You know I love you so much. Thank you for everything that you're doing to, you know, help us as business people, and thank you for everything that you always teach us. For anything Ange Collins, you can follow her here.
I am Angie Collins, and if you're interested in the PR aspect, follow me at Women in PR, and then my clothing brand is Rogers Pearson Official, all across the board.
Say that. We appreciate you here.
Take care, Angie.
All right. I like when you say it.
Love business online.
Yeah, I like what you said. All right, so we here, and a lot of times we talk about the love part, but we don't necessarily talk about the business part. And what I know, and you know, full transparency, what I know is it's hard for me to separate the two. So with Cass, it's a lot easier for her to separate the two. You separate a lot better than I do. I don't do that as well. And I talk about transparency. We talk about transparency all the time. And we need to be transparent on some of these things and our weaknesses and our strength. And because we work together and we do business together and we have several businesses together, it is a lot all the time. So you do have to work on that, separating the two. Like I said, I don't do it well. She does it a lot better than I do, you know, but that's something you need to work on. And you have to recognize what you're good at, and you need to recognize what you're bad at. Things that you're good at are great. The things that you're bad at, you have to try to figure out some things to work on them in order to make sure that everything is good, because you do business with this person, but you're in a relationship with this person as well. So you got to make sure all of those things are good, and you have to try, which is not always easy, to separate the two. So that's my spiel. Love Business on Lock today. And Jay Claxton, food for thought. Let me say this to you. You got to take a chance. You got to shoot your shot. You got to take a chance. You miss 1,000% of the shots that you don't take. Yo, if you're a basketball person, Steph Curry is in range as soon as he walks in the gym, as soon as he probably pulls up in the parking lot. Yo, take your shot, shoot your shot. We don't know what's going to happen. You cannot read the future. You don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. What we do know is, the great part about it is, most people that are successful had some failures. They fail early and often. The thing they did, the surprisingly great thing that they did, was they just kept going. So keep going, whatever it is. Figure it out. Whatever it is, get the lesson out of it. If you fall short, make a mistake, lose some money, whatever happens, just keep going. Don't stop. You can't. Because Michael Jordan got cut from his high school basketball team the first time he tried out. I'm just saying. That tells you a lot. One of the people in the NBA that we look at as the GOAT got cut from his high school basketball team. He kept going, figuring it out. Kobe's first couple of years, he was shooting air balls, that sort of thing. Now, regarded, God rest his soul, as one of the greatest basketball players ever. Just keep going. That's your food for thought. Franchise J. Claxton, man. Try to give you the food. After the show, what you think about the show tonight?
Great show.
Good. Great show. Great artist. Matter of fact, I just want to say thank you for watching live and watching after the fact. We greatly appreciate that, because we're nothing without the support of you. Just be honest. Do me a favor. Do us a favor. Tell everybody about after the show. When to look at it, how to look at it, YouTube, on regular TV, whatever it is, man. Just hopefully, if you love it, just let somebody know that J. Claxton, Dr. Kaz is here after the show.
Till next week, after the show.
After the show.